This postpartum has been completely, radically different than my first experience coming out of a hospital birth. This postpartum, I'm coming out of a free birth, and it's been light years, lifetimes, worlds better than with my first. I had all of this like very medical lactation consultants, all of these nurses, and all of this support. This time around, I've been alone, and it's been so much better. Hey, I'm Taylor Cezanne. If you're new here, I am a fertility specialist, a childbirth educator, a birth doula, and I really just anything to do with the womb is totally my jam and up my alley. I could talk about it for days. Today I want to talk about a little bit about the differences I've noticed in my postpartum experience coming out of my free birth 2 weeks ago. So just 2 weeks postpartum. The biggest difference overall is breastfeeding. Breastfeeding has been so easy. My milk has been abundant, and I really contribute that to not breaking the mother-baby dyad so quickly. When we're in the hospital and giving birth in the hospital, the baby is often whisked away to that side little light table where it's weighed and measured and they're doing the basic testing. And it's breaking that connection immediately. And for me, I think I intuitively kind of connected this within my first birth to part, very small, but a part of the reason why I had struggled with breastfeeding and mood and emotion. It's something I've also seen in many of my clients, struggle with postpartum, both of those things, mood and breastfeeding. And I think it's because we're breaking that connection between mother and baby too quickly. I have a little baby down here at the moment. If you can hear her eating throughout this. Oh my. I've also been a little more diligent postpartum this time with my postpartum herbs. So red raspberry leaf, nettle, oat straw, rose, alfalfa leaf. Those have kind of been my go-to. They're all really great. You're probably thinking, why red raspberry leaf tea? I already gave birth. Red raspberry leaf tea is actually not it's not going to force it's not going to force you into labor. What it's actually doing is toning and strengthening the uterus overall. So as it comes back into its non-pregnant state, it's great to support it in that process with red raspberry leaf tea and alfalfa. Nettle is great for restoring your iron levels because, of course, we're losing blood through birth. And rose for connecting to the heart. Oat straw is great for the nervous system and just kind of relaxing. So those are things that I, really contribute to overall just feeling better, having pretty minimal bleeding and discomfort. I've also been using After Ease from Wish Gardens. It's a tincture. I'll share that below. It's been really supportive as far as my cramping and kind of contractions as my uterus does return to its normal size. And I think when we allow our hormones to naturally fluctuate as they do in an undisturbed birth, which is what I experienced this time in my free birth, that the body can more easily get back into a homeostasis. It can go into a postpartum breastfeeding mode with greater ease than when we are disrupting the process and our hormones are kind of not able to function properly, not able to do the job that they were made and our body was naturally made to do. So by not interrupting that process has allowed me a much easier postpartum. Physically, rest hasn't been as accessible this time around. I have a 4-year-old, so that keeps me busy and moving, and he still needs to eat. He still needs my attention, to play, to make him snacks and do all the things. My partner is, of course, very present and helpful as well, but it's definitely different with the second time around. You're not able to just like lay around and rest and sit quite as easily as with the first. So that is not part of it. Not that I'm like resting more, but one thing I am doing different this time is as a placenta encapsulator, someone who's certified and who has taken a course in the proper care of dehydrating and encapsulating placentas. I chose to do that this time around, really to kind of backtrack for a second. I feel like I do that in all my videos. I backtrack. That's where my brain is. But I chose to free birth. I chose to encapsulate my placenta, largely because of my struggles with postpartum anxiety and depression after the birth of my son. I knew that this time around, he's 4 now, so I knew that my inability to be present in my just really low lows, that he would notice that, that would, you know, really be imprinted on his memory now, something that he remembers, and that I had more at stake at this point, where I couldn't allow myself, not that I couldn't allow myself, but I didn't want myself to drop into such a low low this time because of him. He needs me present, and he needs me, you know, not at my best all the time, but he needs me, not depressed me. So I chose to free birth. I chose to consume my placenta largely because of that. I was going to try anything I possibly could to not interrupt my postpartum experience, that especially that early postpartum immediately after birth, and to consume anything, try any of the tricks to try to reduce my likelihood of falling under that gray cloud again. So it's been 1 week consistently of consuming my placenta, and I didn't fully encapsulate it. I dehydrated it, and I've been adding it to smoothies. Highly recommend. Before I get too ahead of myself, so something that I've noticed overall immediately after taking it, my milk hadn't really came in when I first started, not like fully in, like it was definitely shifting, and it was more of, it wasn't that yellow colostrum, it was white milk, but it wasn't, once I consumed my placenta the first time, it was like a light switch, and my milk just came in fast and hard, and I was engorged, and it was just like an immediate difference. So it really helped with my breast milk production, which I've been so grateful for. I had to use supplement with formula with my son, which is a whole nother conversation. If you'd like to hear my experience with the hospital birth compared to free birth, if you're interested in kind of that perspective, leave something in the comments and I'd be happy to share that. But that was something I really struggled with my first birth. Also noticed my mood. So I had most likely had HG throughout my pregnancy. I was really sick. So I couldn't stomach water. So caffeine and coffee was like out of the question. And I really I've been trying to not rely on it so much now as well, and just kind of allow myself to nap when I feel tired, going to bed earlier, taking nap time a little more seriously for myself as well. Oh, excuse the little lady if you heard that. And so my energy levels after taking it, it's like I had a cup of coffee. I've actually shifted to taking it post afternoon nap. My son still naps, so I take it after his nap, so I have some energy to make it through the night and get a little bit of time to myself in the evenings when both of the kids are sleeping. So breast milk, energy levels have been great. Also my mood. I gave myself that first week. I don't really know why. I think it was kind of like a testing thing for me, like to see like if I was going to start feeling down or the baby blues or, you know, really anxious or overwhelmed, like what that would feel like. And I did start to have some just intrusive thoughts. Thankfully, I was able to identify them as intrusive this time, whereas I think my first postpartum, I really got wrapped up in them so much, to the point where it caused me to like really struggle with anxiety attacks and depression. So I started to notice those intrusive thoughts becoming more frequent and a little bit louder, and that's when I was like, okay, let's start taking the placenta and see if we notice a shift. And I really haven't had those intrusive thoughts. There's been days where, you know, maybe I'm a little short on sleep or just kind of overwhelmed with the chaos of the house, and you know, I get a little teary-eyed, a little blue, a little down, but it's not like down and out all day. It's like moments of sadness, which is normal, just in general, I think. So my mood overall has been so much better. Mood, energy, breast milk. I don't know if this is so much related, but my postpartum bleeding has not been as extreme as it was my first birth. I'm still having some bleeding, but I feel like my first birth I was in, you know, the adult diapers for weeks and weeks and weeks, and really now I can use a light kind of liner in my underwear, and I'm okay. And I've been moving a lot more than I did in my first postpartum. So overall, I have loved placenta conception and would highly recommend it to anyone. This isn't always the case. Some people do have adverse reactions, or they get like too much energy. It can cause them to be more anxious, more in their heads, or it just doesn't, it's not for everyone. As is life and everything, as is with free birth, and nothing is black and white, nothing is all or none. So I highly encourage you to try it out for yourself, just because I have seen such immense benefits from consuming my placenta. And yeah, if you have any other questions, sorry, I got distracted by my little nursling over here. But if you have any other questions on placenta consumption, the dehydration, encapsulation process, anything at all, drop it in the comments. You know I love hearing from you. I would love to talk about this more. So until next time, sending you all so much love, and I can't wait till we talk again.